In this AlignMix how-to video, I will show you how to balance your sales territories here in AlignMix. We do recommend using a territory index to create your balanced territories, and you should have learned how to create that index in the previous video. But you are not limited to only using the index for balancing your territories. You can use any dataset that you've created. If you've only imported one type of dataset, let's say sales, then you can try to balance your territories based on that one figure. But we do recommend using more than one factor for balancing your territories. So let's zoom into an area here, and under Configure Layers, I will add a new label, and it will be Sales. And let's make Sales a green color, click OK, and OK. So now, if we zoom into an area, you will see that this Atlanta territory is sitting at 60 million, if we scroll down here, and then 30 million here in the Macon territory. So using just sales to balance your territories, you'll notice that you have to take about 15 million from the yellow territory and shift it to this green territory in Macon. And you would do that by using the touch align tool and shift them like so. You can also use the other lasso tools if you want to lasso an area and then assign those spots to an existing territory. So you lasso that area, click next and assign to existing, and next like that, and it'll shift it over. Using sales is not the best measure for balancing your territories. You'd want to use a combination of factors like workload, calls, potential value, and sales. In order to use a combination of all those factors, you would want to use the alignment index that we created in the previous video. So now let's change our label here from territory data, which I'll just delete, add a new label, and we'll select index. And we won't write a caption this time, but we will change that color to show up as a red color and click OK. So now we've got our red territory index label, and you'll see that this territory 155 is above that 15% threshold we want for our territories. And this gray territory north of Birmingham is a bit too low. Ideally, we would want that number at 850. So using the touch align tool, I'll come here and chip away until that number gets closer to that 15% threshold. You can see now we are at 910, and that Montgomery territory, this pink one, is sitting at 1147. So it's within the bounds that we want. But before we go too far into balancing our sales territories based on this index, it's good to get an overall picture of what we are looking at here on the map. And to do that, it's best to open up a thematic map that will show us the over-under metric for the territory index. And you access that by opening up a new tab, clicking on thematics, and selecting the over-under map. And now let's zoom out a little bit here. Let's click zoom all the way out. And this will show us which territories fall within the range that we have set. Any territories that are white are pretty much balanced. Red territories are the areas that are too heavy on index, and blue territories are too low on index. So you can see right away that we have a long way to go. Anything that is red should be turned white. Anything that is blue should be turned white as well. But each one either has to lose index or gain index. This is a very great place to start when you want to get an overall evaluation of what your territories currently look like. You can also open up a new tab and look at charts and open up the territory chart. This will give you a chart representation of how your index is currently allocated across your territories. And you can see that currently we have 28 territories that are above that threshold. And you can adjust your threshold if you didn't want to use 15%. You can adjust it to 20, 25, or even 5, 10% here in these boxes. And we will discuss the thematic maps and the territory charts in a later video. So let's go back to our territory alignment tab, our first tab, and now take a look at some of these territories. So let's go up here to the New England area, and you'll see that we have territories that are too high and too low. So again, you would use the touch align tool to make your adjustments here. And you can see this orange territory is a very awkward shape. So you'd want to make some changes here. So let's maybe shift Connecticut down to this lower portion. This orange territory should come up here and maybe capture some of this North Connecticut area. And by doing so, we are shifting the index that is found in those zip codes and accounts from one territory to another. And just like that, by shifting those zip codes around, we are able to balance the two territories with each other. And actually, all four of these are now balanced. The same process would apply if you were not using the index, but if you're using sales or potential value, or even some population demographics. You would simply set it as a label, and then using the touch align tool or lasso tools, you would make those adjustments to your territories so that each territory is balanced with each other. And there you go. You've just learned how to balance your sales territories here in AlignMix.